got Magic to watch. So let's head down to the feature match area. Hello and welcome to round 11 of Grand Prix Las Vegas. That is Luis Scott Vargas on the left of your screen. He's smiling. He's 9-1. You can see Owen Turttonwald on the back table. Owen at 8-2 actually picked up a loss. Luis has got the trademark L. Scott Vargas sunglasses sitting in the red zone. And we are away. Hunter Cochran is Luis's opponent. Luis 8-1 yesterday with a deck he did not like, but he managed to stitch together a plan, gave himself a chance, and took advantage of it. Sickle Ripper is the early play for Hunter. Do not have deck lists for these guys yet, but sure looks like Luis is on something domain-ish. I know I've seen a mountain in his hand. Looks like he's gone with the multicolor strategy that he didn't actually get to build in sealed deck. I see an Etched Oracle in his hand as well. Whereas Hunter Cochran looks like the beatdown.
Yep, Hunter curving out nicely and looking like he probably has all of his colors. With the Sickle Ripper and a Dagger Claw Imp. A lot of power real fast.
Makta Riders. Definitely domain. So 3-3 on turn 3. Luis looks like, I don't see another basic in his hand. I see a couple forests.
Looks like he had a bounce land as well.
Hunter is from Fayetteville, Arkansas. Oof. Sunlance takes down the Rioters. Oh, and here's Glenhawk Idol. Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Glenhawk Idol. It's still a cheap 2/2 flyer, even if you have to pay to activate it every time.
Yeah, Hunter's deck. I mean, when I first saw the first couple of the creatures, oh wow, swamp off the top for Luis, so he's able to play 4/4 Etched Oracle on turn 4. That's great. Hunter hasn't shown us a lot of synergy with this deck. He's just shown us a nice beatdown curve.
I like to think that slow, early, powerful, evasive creatures always have synergy.
That's fair. Totally fair. You know what else is good? 5 power worth of flyers.
Certainly. And the Sickle Ripper, since it has Wither attacking into the Etched Oracle, interesting, it would lose in combat to the Etched Oracle, but it would take off 2 counters,
right,
destroying Luis' option to draw cards.
Yeah, I think he's totally okay with trading Sickle Ripper for half an Etched Oracle.
But it only costs half as much.
Luis not interested in that trade, so he's going to take 7.
If your opponent doesn't block, it was probably a good attack. Yeah, Luis in big trouble now. That he's starting down 5 power and flyers, and he is at 6.
Attacking with Etched Oracle.
He knows he needs answers to flyers, so it looks like the Oracle probably going to get sacked this turn.
Oh. The Lore Scale Coatl.
So if he draws cards with that Lore Scale, it's gonna it gets bigger.
Wow. So Hunter kind of falls for the trap, right? Luis dug the hole and covered it up with some sticks. Nameless Inversion. No. I think Luis was planning to draw those cards anyway, so he's just kind of up a Nameless Inversion all of a sudden.
Yeah, and so he's looking great here, except for his life total. He's going to go to 1 on this attack.
Yeah, 6/6 Lore Scale Coatl. Grip full of cards. I think he's got 7, maybe 8 cards. I do see a Skyreach Manta among those cards, so that can deal with 1 flyer.
He has to deal with 2.
But he has to deal with 2, yeah,
or
exactly.
gain some life. So plenty of 1-mana answers to creatures that are that small, but Luis needs one if he's going to use his Skyreach Manta as the answer to the other, because that costs 5.
Can Luis answer 2 flyers? Wow, if he can, he totally wins this game. He's so far ahead from a card advantage point of view. I see a Wrecking Ball in his hand. I see...
the coil gets in because there's nothing for it to block.
Yeah.
And he passes the turn. It looks like he has a Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, but that's not good enough. He has multiple ways to answer these flyers one at a time. They just hit too hard, too fast, and Hunter Cochran takes game 1. Luis's deck looks sweet. Mana base of 6/3/2/1/1 with 2 bounce lands and Evolving Wilds. He's got all the 5-color shenanigans and all the card drawing he could possibly want. Just could not deal with the beatdown.
Now, we heard Owen's deck is supposed to be quite good. Right?
I heard that Owen Turttonwald's deck, I heard Blake Rasmussen say it was the best deck he has seen all weekend. It is red-white. It is 3 Brute Force is an interesting start to a red-white deck. That goes
Goes well
well with your Bloodshot Trainee. That goes well with your triple Viashino Slaughtermaster.
And there's a Mirren Crusader in play. It looks like he is the sort of ideal double strike deck. You don't always see people even drafting that at a table. Sometimes no one picks it up, but
Agreed.
when it's good, wow.
And when you open Mirren Crusader, that is often the time to move in. He's also got Indomitable Archangel as a white rare. 2 Arrests, 3 Raise the Alarm, Swift Blade. He's even got Nobilis of War.
Oh, wow.
This deck looks awesome.
Deck that knows what it wants to do. You see, that is going to be a big hit. The Arrest, so he's got a Tumble Magnet to stop the Crusader, but the Arrest means the big blocker can no longer stop those little soldiers, and Sean's going to take a hit for 4 here, going to 10. That Tumble Magnet's almost out of counters. Sean needs something big soon to get back in this game.
Sean Smith is from Kansas City. He's got a blue-green deck going here.
Looks like, yeah, he does have a Tezzret's Gambit, which is great. That'll give him another chance to activate Tumble Magnet one more time. So interesting. He drew a Vines of the Vastwood here. But I don't think that Vines can help with that Arrest. Hexproof only means that creatures can't be the target of spells or abilities.
Right, yeah, it does not make the Arrest fall off. Apostle's Blessing would make the Arrest fall off, but not Vines.
Right, protection saying it can't be enchanted by a permanent of that color.
Cochran Spider does pick up an extra counter from the graft, though.
That's a big blocker. Unless Owen has something that will stop his other creatures.
Wow.
Interesting.
Does not appear to have any kind of enhancement spell. Yeah, I mean, Owen's deck looks great on paper, and I've had some success with a deck like this myself, but Owen also lost the first round.
Right.
And now Sean seems to have stabilized here in this first game against him. I mean, Owen's graveyard has gone through a couple of Burst Lightnings.
Well, Sean Smith's still looking for a more permanent answer to that Tumble Magnet. That card's a real problem for him
That's
right
fair.
now. So you'll probably see him actually choose not to use the tap effect this next turn to maintain that counter, hoping to draw another Proliferate card if he has more in his deck to draw, which I suspect he does, since he can take 1 hit from the Mirror Crusader.
Cloud Elemental comes down. Picks up 2 counters from the graft abilities.
This is interesting. He's chosen to race.
Can he actually win this race?
Well,
Cloud Elemental can't block.
right, so it looks like he's going to take 8 this turn unless he does use the Magnet, and he does choose to use the Tumble Magnet.
Still
Owen
taking
only at
4.
14. Yeah, he needs to draw something to stop that Crusader ASAP. He can get 4 damage off Vines of the Vastwood.
Oh, that's how he can win this race.
He's got 4 in the air. He's got
4 surprise.
2 on
That's
the ground.
10 damage.
Yeah. I wonder if he thinks it will kill the Arrest, because if it did...
Yeah, I kind of want to see how this plays out. This feels like it's going to get decided in the next turn or two.
It certainly does. You know, if he's thinking the Vines of the Vastwood works that way, he thinks he's got the game won here. But
Alright, Wayfarer's Bauble resolved. Sean on taps.
draws a blue creature.
Yeah,
That's really good.
it is. I mean, he can clearly get in for 4 with Cloud Elemental. He can possibly add the Spider in. He's going to keep the Spider on defense this turn.
Yeah, it does a great job of holding off those soldiers.
Oh,
which
Novage
is
Sages.
Yeah, a great card to draw here. And you see him
Yeah.
leave those 2 green mana up. I think Owen probably has figured out that he has a Vines in his hand because he did that before too.
He's going to graft twice onto the Sages, making it a 6/6.
It can just kill that Mirror Crusader. Owen doesn't have an attack.
He's erased the alarm.
So
He's gone wide. 6 potential attackers versus 2 blockers. So any kind of giant growth or burn spell would do it for Owen, but I think he top decked a mountain.
yeah, one of those brute forces would have been great, right?
Yeah, he's holding mountain plains. So kind of 8 lands. What is this? This game has basically been 8 lands, 7 spell for Owen.
Yep, not exactly the balance he wants, I don't think.
Just about any spell might have won this game for him right there. He's only playing 16 lands too.
Well, he still has a chance here because Sean is showing exactly 8 with the vines and the flyer. Owen at 10. He might get one more draw phase here. I think if he holds back, there's no way that Sean can try to crack through him. Of course, that sage over there can be used to turn that arrested creature into an extra draw step.
All right, Owen is going to attack with everybody except one soldier. He recognizes the need to hold a chump blocker back. Yeah, sages can eat the Crusader. I mean, if Owen had a trick, he could win this fight. Of course, if he had a trick, he could also just
win the game.
Yep. So, I mean, Sean has to put Owen on not having any kind of giant growth effect, or he's already lost. Yeah, Spider's going to trade for a token. Sean is at 6 and willing to take 4, looks like.
So what burn spells does Owen have in his deck? Because Sean's suddenly in range of any burst lightning or lightning bolt.
Well, both burst lightnings are in the graveyard. Seventh land. Sean does cash in his arrested creature for a card.
Yep. This game looking really good for Sean Smith.
Yeah, it does all of a sudden, doesn't it?
Owen probably has one draw step.
Probably. Any kind of removal spell for that last token, though, and the game ends right here.
And that's a tumble magnet.
Is that another tumble magnet?
That is.
You just go for it, right? Tap the token, attack for 10?
Well, with Owen's very aggressive attack, it's possible that Sean has a little bit of the fear.
Yeah, Owen's actually played this such that if Sean can't win here, Owen can just win next turn.
Unfortunately, Sean has both Tumble Magnet and Vines of the Vastwood.
Yep.
I think
So Sean Smith plays a Tumble Magnet, taps Owen's Chump Blocker. Owen was attempting to swarm around Sean's blockers, and he almost won this race, but instead, no, it is Sean Smith who takes game 1 from Owen Turttonwald. Wow, that was an interesting game.
It was.
All right, let's go back and check out Luis and Hunter. They have gone ahead and started their second game. Luis has an Ant Queen and a 4/4 Skyreach Manta. Game seems to be going much better for LSV.
Yeah, and the Ant Queen so good against the Waxmane Baku. You can't really tap Luis out when he's generating creatures every turn.
Hunter also only has 3 lands in play.
That kite-sailed Shikari is a pretty scary creature.
It is.
But
First strike and
life Skyreach Manta. If Luis were a little lower, he could be offering the I'll tap your flyer and attack for 3.
Mm-hmm. Luis is the one on offense, though, and yeah, he's just ready to send him. Does he have an answer to the Shikari?
Looks like there are pre-blocker effects here from Luis.
What's he up to? A lot of mana.
Sure is.
Comet Storm.
Wow. Kill all of your creatures. That is not a particularly fair card. Comet Storm, really interesting. It's sort of a classic X spell. Pay some mana and then X and do X damage to a creature or player. But you can pay 1 more to add a target to it, which takes, and it gets to just do exactly the same amount of target.
Well, Apostle's Blessing is going to save the Shunspear Shikari.
Right.
Yeah, there's Comet Storm. Multi-kicker. Just pick your X and then start deciding how many extra things you want to hit.
So good in these big mana decks, you know.
It's so good in limited decks.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like the Comet Storm targeting 3 creatures. One of them has Persist and comes back.
Yep, one of them got defended by Apostle's Blessing.
Yeah.
So not a complete blowout, but still.
It's still a 1 for 2.5. And
Hunter able to keep his lifelinker
damage
alive, which sort of kept him alive for another draw phase. But yeah, there's nothing. He's not coming back from that board state.
It's a tough one to catch up from.
So we're going to get a game 3. Luis got Vargas trying to see if he can get to 10-1.
As is Hunter Cochran, who will be on the play this time with his more aggressive deck. We saw Luis fall a little behind in that first game, and that was the problem.
It's true. Yeah, Hunter's deck is 16 land, sort of black-white aggro. He's got a Ghost Council. He's got a Pillory of the Sleepless, couple of Restless Apparitions. Basically looks like he found the lane that was open was black-white, and not a ton of Spirit and Arcane synergy. Just a bunch of good cards. Bone Splinters, Daggerclaw Imp, Dismember.
Ooh, Dismember's a great card.
He does have a nameless inversion that he can potentially bring back with some of the Soul Shift stuff he's got. A couple Scuttling Deaths, for example.
Nameless inversion, as we saw in Game 1, not particularly effective against Luis's deck, where his creatures are so big that often the inversion isn't quite enough.
It's true. Meanwhile, Owen Turttonwald trying to also force a Game 3. Number 4 ranked player in the world.
After the start he wants, he has a 2-drop. Immediately starts attacking Sean Smith's life total.
Yeah, Owen's deck is pretty aggressive too. He's the beatdown in this matchup.
Yeah,
I mean, we came in kind of as Sean Smith was turning the corner last game.
Right, it's an interesting third turn for Owen. All he has is a Carapace. A great card to have here because it turns those little 1/1 soldiers into 3/3s. But unless
Not
he has another
exactly
raise the
mana
alarm,
efficient.
yeah, he's not making much use of this turn. Are we going to see it and instant raise the alarm here, or possibly a removal spell on the spider? Yep, there you go. One of the burst lightnings.
Pretty good. But Apostle's Blessing saves it.
Yep. It does get 2 damage into Sean Smith. But he still has to work around that spider. So now he can't attack unless he equips, which sort of effectively skips his turn from developing his board any further.
He wants to play Mirran Crusader.
I also would want to play Mirran Crusader. Good sign for Owen here. He didn't have a 4th land drop. No, though normally you want to make your land drops. A deck like his, it looks like he doesn't have a lot of spells that cost more than 3.
Right.
So now any land he draws doesn't upset him, but he knows he's not going to run out of gas very soon. And keep the pressure
Yeah,
up.
I feel like his biggest problem last game was the 8 lands.
Exactly.
You know, give him 6 lands and 2 extra spells. He maybe would have got those last 2 points through.
Tumble Magnet looking really good for Sean Smith. A non-green answer to that Mirran Crusader.
Yeah, it's a great point.
I think last game, Owen would have been able to overwhelm him without that Tumble Magnet. And also, the second Tumble Magnet enabled Sean to go for the win. Deny Owen one last draw step. Ooh.
Dominable Archangel.
I guess he did want that 4th land.
Fair. Wait, double white rare followed by double white rare. Owen found his lane. Deck looks pretty solid. All right, well, let's go back to the main table. We want to make sure we catch Game 3 between Luis Scott Vargas and Hunter Cochran.
Hopefully Owen will force a Game 3, which we can also watch.
Plummet from Luis. Nails the Daggerclaw Imp. I see a Tribal Flames in his graveyard already as well, so remove your first creature, remove your second creature.
It's just how Luis wants to start, and that Plummet
Yes.
after Game 1, great sign that he had that side in.
That's a good point. Blinding Soul Eater. I mean, it's good, but it's not the most aggressive creature, and I don't like Hunter's chances in the late game.
Certainly not. It's not a great
What is that
defensive creature
mounted
with no
for?
white.
No mountains in his main deck. Wonder what he sideboarded in. He's got a Burst Lightning and 2 Fiery Falls in his board.
Perhaps he wanted some removal that was big enough to take out Luis's blockers. Luis going a little bit, I'm just going to play high toughness guys.
Yeah, those early removal spells were kind of perfect.
Yeah, Hunter keeping a hand with no white mana, thinking, well, I've got a nice early start.
Mm-hmm.
I have to keep a hand like that, but Luis having the perfect response, and now Hunter struggling with missing a color.
Well, the perfect response would have involved at least a 4th color for Skyreach Mantis.
That's
Maybe.
true.
I don't know. Asking for 5 would be greedy, but... Soul Eater does pick up a Kite Sail. Hunter can...
There's your 4th color.
Now the 4th color. Hunter can pay life to the Soul Eater to tap Skyreach Manta, effectively saving a point.
And then if he wants, he can attack Luis back for 2. Unless Luis plays on the blocker.
Wow, and the island. Luis got land types 4 and 5 that turn? No, he's still missing a swamp.
Yep. Yeah, a second force. There.
Sunlance.
Oh yeah,
Hunter's still on the offense.
That fourth color for the Sky Reach.
It's a big deal, yeah.
Big difference. You see, that's a big deal for Hunter actually that he drew his white mana. So both of them now getting access to more of their deck with their additional colors of mana. It's probably better for Luis.
More Sunburst. Fully charged Etched Oracle and an Evolving Wilds to go get the Swamp if he's got something else he wants to do.
Yeah, Luis doesn't really have an answer to this little 2/3 flyer at the moment, but his life total's high enough that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, he can just race it right now.
Yeah, he could race it. He can also just sacrifice that Oracle and dig for, his really expensive spells.
Yeah, it's tricky. Like 4/4 creature is usually pretty good, but drawing 3 cards is also usually pretty good.
I know Luis is a particularly big fan of drawing 3 cards.
It is true.
Sunspear Shikari, with an equipment in play, maybe let that Blinding Soul Eater get back to the job of tapping things. The Shikari can start to go to work in the air.
Hunter leaving his mana up instead of moving Kitesail.
Yep, and that may just be a slight oversight, or he may have something in hand. It's an easy one to forget.
1, 2, 3. Arrest for the Soul Eater. Yeah. Owen Turttonwald has in fact forced a game 3.
Excellent.
More magic.
See, Luis, make sure that Soul Eater untaps. So maintain the game state correctly. No equip. So
I guess he's got plans for his mana.
does. It makes the fact that he didn't equip last turn a little bit painful. That would have been a 4 life total swing because of the lifelink.
Back to Rioters for Luis. That guy's a 5/5.
He is now 5/5. You see Luis with
pretty good against Guttling Dust.
Full suite of lands right there in the middle.
Now that there's a 4-power blocker, though, Etched Oracle starting to look delicious.
Yep. Of course, it can be tough to give up an answer to your opponent's 4-power creature.
Well, he's got a 5/5 in his hand, is I think why that's...
Right, and there's the Kitesail to haggle with as well. It could be a 5-power flying creature very quickly. Luis thinking about what cards he could draw there, I think.
Oh, his other card's a Burst Lightning. Goes for the Shikari, not the Scuttling Death.
Yeah, I like that.
Scuttling Death. Don't want to let your opponent have a lifelinker?
Yeah, the 2/2 flying lifelinker is pretty scary. It takes away the option to race. Whereas if he equips the Scuttling Death and attacks for 5 in the air, Luis can crack back for 9 on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a great race for Hunter. Does he have a Soul Shift target in his graveyard?
I don't think so. There aren't that many in his deck.
Right.
He's got the one Nameless Inversion, but he didn't play that this game.
Yeah, we can't see his graveyard there, so.
He's got like a Waxmane Baku.
There's a Spirit.
Yeah.
And he's got a Dismember in his hand. Hunter's hand looking really good. He's also got huge
Bone Splinters. Sacrifice the creature that has Arrest on it.
One of the problems with these cards, these arrests and narcolepsies.
Kill your 5/5. Yep, that works. And fly over.
Luis thinking, do I just go ahead and sacrifice this Oracle now and see if I can draw a removal spell? Decides not to. This game looking really good for Hunter.
Yeah, here's the Apparition. Luis attacks for 4. He doesn't have something in his hand to do with that mana. I gotta think he's going to be sacrificing Etched Oracle. Oh, Hunter blocks. Takes advantage of Persist to just soak up 4 damage, bring his guy back.
I think Luis probably happy about that. So now Luis can just find, that's what exactly what he needed. He needed
find a Wrecking Ball?
Yeah, Hunter's holding the Dismember, so just playing blockers wouldn't be as good for Luis. With his life total a little bit low, I think he wants to have removal here.
Did he also draw the Comet Storm?
It looks like he might have.
That is a lot of mana.
Yeah, that is Comet Storm in his hand there. Wow.
Wow.
So he says, I've got enough mana to do damage to you and both your creatures. So, bam.
Well, that cleaned up this board pretty significantly.
That was a great draw 3 for Luis. He got a Wrecking Ball, Comet Storm. Looks like something else as well. Hunter with no creature to follow up. The spirits died at the same time.
So that doesn't work with Soul Shift?
I think it actually does. I think Hunter might have missed it.
I thought it did too.
Yeah, Hunter might have missed the opportunity.
Couldn't he have gotten the apparition back with his Scuttling Death?
I think so. That's a very subtle rule.
Yeah, they died at the same time. I think the Soul Shift triggers when it hits the graveyard, and the spirit would have been there. So
it's one of the reasons that Soul Shift is always one number less than the creature's own casting cost. Otherwise,
it could get itself
back.
Yeah. No, he just missed it.
So you see a Scuttling Death here from Hunter. Now, Luis again has to consider the Soul Shift options because he's got another Edged Oracle.
Yeah. I mean, Wrecking Ball and Scuttling Death. He probably will get the apparition this time.
You got to think he's tempted to wait until Hunter's turn to make the mana decisions more awkward for Hunter, but it's probably just worth killing that.
Yeah, I mean, you get to brawl, right? You get to attack with a 4/4.
Right. Maybe he's tempted to kill that mountain, thinking perhaps there's some direct damage in Hunter's deck that is scary. Wrecking Ball having that option to kill a land, you got to consider it. I don't think he's going to do it here.
No, I mean, the races. I don't think you can afford to let the guy just have 4-power creatures when it's 8 to 12. All right, Hunter says block, and Luis is like, all right, never mind.
I'll draw 3.
I'll draw 3. I just wanted to see if you were going to take 4 before I drew my 3 cards.
Wow.
Oh, Hellkite Charger.
Hellkite Charger.
Now. And the Ant Queen.
He's got the Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, Wrecking Ball is untapped. 1, 2, 3. He can Wrecking Ball and make an Ant, I think.
You're going to see that here, of course, so he doesn't get his life too low. Into burn range.
Haunting Apparition comes back with the Soul Shift.
So Hunter finally does get that apparition back. Looks like he's got a Pillar of the Sleepless in his hand. The form of direct damage. He's thinking about it.
It's just a pacifism, though, right? Not an arrest?
It's just a pacifism. But
so
that is a 5/5 Ant Queen.
Well, no attacking and blocking with 5/5, but you still get to make ants.
Yep. Those insects, though, not particularly good against a deck with Kite Sail. So Luis, although, God, he looks like he's way ahead, he's kind of in trouble here. That apparition can pump itself and pick up a Kite Sail. You may end up blocking with that Hellkite.
Wow. He's actually got enough mana that he can't play it and activate it this turn, can he?
The Hellkite?
Yeah. It's 6 to play and 7 to activate, right?
Yeah, 6 to play, 7 to activate. That would be incredible.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
1
10, 11,
short.
12. He's 1 short.
Power of Carouse.
And there's a bauble in his hand.
Yeah. So he can generate a bunch of 1/1s on the ground to make himself very dangerous next turn, but if Hunter draws a land here, he just equips the apparition, attacks, and pumps the apparition twice, and Luis is dead. In fact, pumping the apparition once is enough because, Pillar of the Sleepless is going to do damage to him. So Luis has to block with Hellkite. Unless that red spell in his hand is a removal spell, which I don't think it is.
I think it's a Rapid Flames.
Yeah, interesting. Luis doing the math and making this horribly painful decision. I am going to chump block with my Hellkite Charger. Although, it's only a complete chump block if Hunter has the land.
Right. Spending the 2 mana on the Kite Sail means he's only got enough mana to... Oh,
he does have the land.
Wow. So now he has the ability to pump twice. Yeah, Luis blocks.
Has to block. Oh, the Hellkite Charger, this was not what you were made for.
Is Hunter going to only pump once?
Well, if he only pumps once, his creature does come back, and then he can pump again to protect it. But I don't see why that would help you. You still have the persist as long as you keep it alive.
Right. Yeah.
Although
Pump, kill your Hellkite Charger. Luis can make 3 ants, but
a removal
he
spell
needs an answer to Haunting Apparition.
A removal spell does the job, even though it persists because he has the
Threw
rapid
a
flames.
second Wayfarer's Bauble.
Wow.
Wow. Luis down to 6. Yeah, he's just dead.
Yeah.
Man, he was 1 mana from playing Hellkite Charger, attacking, and then activating the ability.
Would that have been enough, though? It would have been 5 damage, 10 damage. Hunter at
It just
12.
untaps the Charger, right? And gives you another attack
Untaps
phase?
all attacking creatures.
All
I
attacking
believe. Can we
creatures.
get
There was
Hellkite
1
Charger
ant,
up?
so it would have been...
But the Beckoning Apparition was untapped, so he could have just blocked with the insect.
Yeah, okay. So he wouldn't have won the game. But, I mean, he can attack, then untap, and now be potentially threatening lethal with these insects.
Right. Hunter would have been at 7. So, close.
Well, I think 1 ant gets to attack. I think Hunter's at 6. Yeah, maybe that doesn't actually win the game. But, yeah, Luis sees that he's dead, reveals, yeah, his hand just didn't do anything. He wound up with Bauble, Rapid Flames in his hand at the end of the game, and that didn't help. So
Rapid Flame's a really interesting card against Hunter. A lot of creatures that it could kill.
a lot of 1-toughness creatures. Yeah, it seemed like a good card to sideboard in. But LSV picks up loss number 2. Now, what's going to happen at the end of this day is that everybody on X and 2 is just going to have to sweat the tiebreaker math. Tiebreakers got reset at the beginning of day 2. It's kind of random. At the end of the day, there's big swings based on how your opponents do. It's only tracking your day 2 opponents. There's not that many of them, so you're going to see rapid swings and tiebreakers at the end. And basically, like 4 out of 12 people are going to make top 8 with 2 losses. So Luis would love to be one of those. He's done it before. He had Grand Prix Richmond last year. He was one of the lucky 2-loss players that snuck into a top 8 of a 4,000-person GP.
Now, if you look at this board, this is pretty wild. We have one of my favorite things to see, a Bloodshot trainee going to work. Sean Smith with a great answer. He has the Plaxcaster Frogling, but he's going to have to hold mana up to protect his creatures from that trainee. Meanwhile, Owen Turttonwald also has Sunforger in his Burst Lightning Brute Force deck.
Not bad.
And Raise the Alarm. It can go get a white or red instant spell and play it when you unattach it. You'll see him put it on that Mirren Crusader. The reason that he's putting it there is if Sean has some kind of removal spell or bounce spell, he still gets to have a Sunforger attached to a creature because Sean's obviously not going to target that Mirren Crusader with whatever the effect is. Can we get Sunforger up on the screen? See, it's a very interesting card. It's when you unequip it, you get to search your library for a spell.
Only really works in a red-white deck. Here's Cloud Elemental off the top for Sean Smith, which Bloodshot Trainee is just going to gun down. No, go away.
Yeah, before it can even pick up a token. Rashad, can we look at Sunforger? There it is. Yeah, so you see unattached Sunforgers. You can't activate that unless you also pay the equip cost first.
Oh, until Owen is unattaching it and then paying the kicker on the Burst Lightning.
Wow.
So gets the Burst Lightning, gets to add the kicker cost to it, and that was all he took. So Owen Turttonwald wins Game 3, wins his match, moves to 9-2 on the event. Same record Luis Vargas has. So
his deck looks really good.
His deck looks
that.
great. I don't know, how did he lose last round?
You know, Magic the Gathering. Sometimes people get you.
Yeah.
There might be some other very good decks at the table too. So yeah, you saw it in play. He had Bloodshot Trainee, Mirren Crusader. The Bloodshot Trainee had multiple ways to get 4 power.
Carapace,
the Carapace and the Sunforger. And then
he's also got a second Carapace in his deck. He's got a Sickle Slicer in his deck.
And Sunforger's ability to go get all sorts of different answers in this format. You know?
Yeah, Brute Force actually turns into a one-shot kill spell too when you have Bloodshot Trainee. There's 3 Brute Forces can just say, Trainee is 5 power, kill something.
And does he have, Smash the Smithereens in his sideboard? Because he can go get that with a Sunforger if he wants to.
Oh, nice. He has 1 in his sideboard.
Yeah, exactly. So, a really cool deck.
We got 1 match left to show you. The Turbo match. Our King of the Hill, Sammy Betarsa. Battersea? I've seen Sammy around, but I don't know that I've ever heard him pronounce his last name.
I would say Betarsa, but I really don't know.
Apologies to Sammy. I'm sure
If we just say it
Happy to
enough
be
different
king of the
ways,
hill.
we'll be right at least once.
Fire Slinger is the start.
Ooh, and then
And
plating.
cranial plating.
Interesting.
Nest Invader for Andrew Lozano. This is
Red.
actually the same table as Owen Turttonwald, so it's possible that Andrew beat Owen? I don't know. Nest Invader gets killed. Fire Slinger picks up the cranial plating.
You don't
Only
see,
2 lands for Sammy, though.
don't see a lot of platings in red decks.
It's just so good.
Yeah,
It doesn't take many artifacts to have it be good.
Right.
I mean, like, the second one, and you're already turning a profit, right?
Uh-huh. You see, interesting. Sammy obviously an aggressive deck. He's got an equipment that gives nothing but power. He's got 2-drops and 1-drops that ping, but he's going to have trouble with the Creekwood Leech here, I think.
Well, you're supposed to have more than 2 lands before Creekwood Leech comes down on
Okay,
the
so
other
he
side.
did draw a swamp, and here he has a Burst Lightning, so he's going to be able to get that Creekwood Leech, buy himself some time to maybe get the rest of his hand in play.
Lacerator. Yeah,
Late
this
for
is
him to show
a
up.
16 land, black-red. Just nice, aggressive.
How many artifacts does he have?
Well, in addition to that cranial plating,
Yeah.
he also has a cranial plating.
All right.
Cathodian hits pretty hard.
Yep.
2 Flare Husks, a Mortar Pod, and a Rune Servitor.
Great. So
Plenty.
you don't have to then pump that plating. Now it looks like Andrew's deck is a 5-color. He's got both of the 5-color activation red creatures
6,
in play.
2, 2, 1, 1.
Yeah,
Plus
Phoenix.
3 bounce lands and Evolving Wilds.
Yeah, he is missing a color right now. That land that's hidden is not a swamp. I don't think so. If he gets to that land, the game will turn really fast. Negotiating the Lacerator point of damage here. Perhaps trying to figure out if he can prevent the damage by dealing 1 with his Fire Slinger, getting his opponent down to 10 so that the Lacerator's ability does not deal damage to
Which
him.
does work, right? Lacerator's ability triggers, goes on the stack, and then checks the opponent's life total when it resolves.
Right, it checks on resolution, I believe. Cranial plating now a +2/+0. So we've got a Cathodian. And with those Fire Slingers in play, Andrew just has to block basically.
Spike Bellows takes out
Oof.
the Knight. Phoenix still hanging
he does
out.
have
He
black
does have
mana.
black mana now off the Aqueduct, yeah.
Yep.
Is that a monstrosity?
That is an Edge Monstrosity, and that is going to be gigantic.
Yeah, you just have to start blocking it. Rune Servitor blocks, both players draw a card.
The game now, can Fire Slinger kill Andrew before his 10/10 kills Sammy? And it looks like they probably can. We were right about him being at 10 there. It's not going to take a lot of hits. Yep, you see Sammy go into a defensive stance.
Phoenix attacking now in addition to the monstrosity.
Sickle
Couple,
Ripper.
yeah, wither counters.
Yep.
Block a worm.
Oh,
That'll swing a race.
that will. And now all
Hello,
of a sudden,
3.5
Sammy is
turns
way
worth
behind.
of time walk.
Oh, the Vampire outcast with the counters and the cranial plating. He's got 5 power lifelink there, trying to survive, really.
Double block Palaka Worm. Yeah, killed the Palaka Worm with that block. Chumped the monstrosity. Now he's down to just the Goblin Fire Slingers, though.
Yep.
All right, Stormblood Berserker.
Stormblood Berserker looks pretty embarrassing on this board with an Air Servant. Etched Monstrosity, 5 power with the Flyers.
Well, they chump blocks.
Jump blocks.
Goblin Fire Slingers not going to win the race. Palaka Worm swung that race.
Yeah, Balak Worm says to the Fire Slingers, "Oh, aren't you little guys adorable?" 1 damage? You say 1? How about 7? The Fire Slinger's back.
He's got 4 of them.
That Fire Slinger is not giving up. He says, "I can do it. I'm going to get you eventually."
Third 3 Gouger, not bad.
Yeah.
Pretty good beatdown curve.
Yeah, if the 2-drop could only attack, it would look a lot better, but
Yeah, Mortar Pod's just so good. You play it anyway.
you can't complain about, turn 3 Gouger.
Oh, and the
Wow.
Outcast with the Bloodthirst trigger.
This looks
4/4 lifelink.
a lot scarier. Wow, that's a great response.
Cone of Creatures. Is it good enough, though?
Bestial Menace.
It's like a 1, a 2, and a 3, and there's a couple of 4/4s on the other
Well,
side.
he can double block both of them, and essentially, unless there's a mortar pod trick set up, he can just trade for everything. So, I think Sammy has the option here. If I equip my Fire Slinger, I attack with both my creatures. Well, now, you can arrange some double blocks, but you can only take out one of my guys, because if you use that 1/1 in a double block, I'll just kill it. Yep, so that is what he does. They all block the Outcast. Interesting.
Yeah, he wants to make sure the lifelinker dies. Gouger gets through. Smash to smithereens on Sphere of the Suns.
Ooh, that's good. So he sets back Andrew's mana development, which is exactly what Andrew's deck needs to be doing. And that World Heart Phoenix does not look great when it's a 4-mana blocker, basically.
Yeah. Mortar Pod also has a point of toughness that comes along with it. So
Right.
the Gouger picks it up.
Another option. That might have been what Sammy was thinking about last turn. Was Ooh.
Primarch with the kicker.
Okay, so
Not a
Sammy
small
looking a little
creature.
flooded.
Yeah, kind of similar to the last game where the question is,
Oh.
can the Fire Slingers get there? And this time the answer is yes. With a little help from our friend the Mortar Pod.
Yeah, the Mortar Pod.
Goblin
big deal.
Fire Slingers get the job done at the end.
Yeah, he hit so hard early. We can't see the life totals there, but Sammy just putting the math together real quick and saying, I got you. Just needed one more creature to sacrifice.
So we go to game 3. Big game. I mean, not just the King of the Hill title on the line, but the winner gets to play to win the pod.
And go in feeling really safe into the next draft even. You'd be able to go, 1-1 draw, probably.
Yeah, if you win the pod. I assume Lozano is undefeated. I don't actually know that for sure because I know that this is pod 2 where some of the players were undefeated and some of the players had 1 loss.
Right.
So it's possible that Betarsa is the last undefeated and they got pared down.
But
is that true? Oh, yeah.
Betarsa, it says here, has a draw.
So he's on X01.
Yeah, Lozano
that makes
is
sense.
10-0. Or 30 points. Yep, 10-0. So we see some of those big creatures. Oh, there's the Gouger again against a board with a lot of mana, but not a lot of power. Air Servant will trade with that Gouger, and I think you'll see that. Ooh. Yep. It does 1 damage to the Air Servant so that the Rune Servitor can attack into it. And, and then they trade. Really
smart
great
attack.
play from Sammy, yeah.
It also let him put the point of toughness on the Gouger so that Air
Right.
Servant could not trade for it.
Just see just how versatile Mortar Pod is,
Although, meanwhile, Etched Monstrosity is just, 5 mana 5/5 is fine. Doesn't even need to do much more than that.
Yeah. So you see there.
Sammy forced to basically implode his board just to deal with that.
Yeah, it looks like he used a removal spell and attacked into the Etched Monstrosity. Which you can't wait around for them to turn that into a 10/10.
Creekwood Leech
and Kavu
Primarch with the kicker. Or not with the kicker?
No kicker.
Not with the kicker.
No kicker.
Still.
It's got +1/+1 from the Liege. So 1 damage dealt to the Liege by sacrificing the creature after blocks. And yeah, you got to deal with that Liege while you can.
Yeah.
Interesting. Sammy kind of used up all of his cards dealing with Andrew's
and now here's
defenses.
4/4 Skyreach Manta.
Yeah, Sammy hoping that Andrew was just sitting on a whole bunch of mana. He
Feels
was not.
like Andrew Lozano may have turned the corner here.
It certainly does.
4/4 flyer, 3/3 ground creature. All right, fine. Cathodian.
And then here's where the Phoenix looks really good. Fine, I'll block. Now I'll just get it back bigger. Yep. He had the other color of mana. You tell when he blocked, he probably had it. So a ping there to get a big vampire outcast that might help in the race a little bit.
Maybe. It doesn't look like enough.
It looks like what happened there is that if he attacks and gains 4 life, it's actually not going to be enough. So,
and the end of the game, missing from the video, but it was Andrew Lozano who was victorious.
yeah, it looked pretty clear that was going to end that way. Andrew with 2 big guys and Sammy out of cards.
Wow. New King of the Hill, Andrew Lozano. Sammy Betarsa had a nice Bloodthirst deck. I think the Bloodthirst deck can be very aggressive.